Hey everybody, it's March 11th, 2021. Hopefully the pandemic's ending soon. Everybody will get vaccinated and life can get back to normal. I bought this farm 1 year ago yesterday. So this is just a quick review of what I've accomplished out here in my first year and what is coming in the next year. So I'm walking over to the shop right now to get the kids, aka the mules, some feed, and I'll give you a quick recap of everything that's taken place out here over the last year. Come along. If you remember back, the very first project we did was move this building from out of the field in the mud puddle over here. Had a concrete pad poured 30 by 60, had an apron, and this little walk pad right here. And that was so that I could get all of my stuff inside. Everything's not in here right now, but that was just so I could get everything out of the weather. So that was the first thing. We built this lean-to over here, 12 foot by 60 foot. Haven't finished it yet, but you saw the part one where I installed all this. Still haven't gotten the lumber. Lumber's still a little high, but this will be getting fixed here real soon. I've made a pad out here. This is all gonna be gravelled in with 57 gravel. And it'll go all the way over to here out front. And I'll have a driveway that goes all the way around the back of the building. One of the things that I would like to do in the coming year is I would like a pole barn right here. When I say a pole barn, I'm talking about 6 by 6 posts and just a roof right there, open on all four sides. That way I can get the horse trailer out of the shop and I can get other trailers out of the weather and up underneath there. When this is finished, all the implements will be under here for the tractor and construction projects and that type of stuff. We moved the mobile home out, got rid of the deck, all the bushes that were around it, and we planted blueberries. I've got them caged in right now because the deer are decimating them. So hopefully they'll do well. Gonna put a couple more right here where these were, and then I'll end up mulching this whole site right here. And where this oak tree is right here, I'm going to plant fruit trees right here in this area. So I'll have apple, pear, pomegranate, fig, that type of stuff. The driveway ended right here at the mobile home, but what I've done is I've extended it over to the shop, and that will be gravelled with 57 when I gravel up there around the shop, and then all of this will be re-gravelled. Now when the mobile home was here, originally I was going to keep it. I thought it would be a good rental property for me. I could possibly have a hand out here to help me. But as I got to looking at it, it needed a lot of work. It needed a new roof. The kitchen window leaked and it had rotted the wall underneath it, which had in turn rotted the subfloor in the kitchen. Both of the decks needed repair. Some of the bricks underneath it had fallen, so it wasn't level anymore. None of the doors stayed open. They all swung open or closed just because of the unlevel. Windows were cracked and leaking. It was just infested with bugs, and it just needed a lot of work that I wasn't willing to put into it. The shower leaked. The previous homeowner had hacked up the cabinets to get a bigger refrigerator in there, and that was pretty minor, but I just wasn't willing to put the money into it when I needed to be putting the money into the farm. So I just decided to move it on and let somebody get it that could benefit from a home that needed just a little bit of work. So we were able to move it 2 counties over, and an elderly woman moved into it, so that it benefited everybody. So it worked out real good. Probably the biggest project and the most time consuming was getting the fields back in order. They had been neglected for several years, if you remember, and they were just inundated with weeds and trees, sweet gums and persimmons and that type of stuff. So I went and got Grazon, as you remember, and I put it out. And I put it out 2 different applications, and I put out about 1,000 gallons on my 21 acres. And I'm telling you what, the fields are beautiful. I'm gonna have to spray again coming up here, but I've got all of my tree areas are dead. I mean, look at all this. We're at March 11th, and look at all the new grass coming up. It's all getting out of dormancy and it's all popping up. And like I said, there's weeds out here as well. But if you remember from a year ago, from the previous videos, these fields were not even usable. I couldn't have grazed anything out here. There was briars. Just go back and look at the videos and you'll see. But they just look really good. They're really healthy. USDA was out here in January, and he did an inspection to give me some guidance and stuff for the upcoming year, and he was saying how well the fields looked, and I couldn't be more pleased. But that was a big undertaking, and I'm not there yet, but it's a whole lot better than it was. This is where the building was originally, and it's finally dried up. You know, we moved it over there, so much better. But after this finally dried out, which took months, I was left with 16 12-foot pallets and a bunch of plastic that was underneath the pallets. Since this area is already leveled and they've already built it up, I was gonna plant grass here, but it's gonna be a great place for a round pen. So this is a future home of where my round pen will be going. All right, so we just started fencing this area in. This is the front pasture, and I'm gonna have 3 different areas out here for rotational grazing. It'll go all the way over to that tree line, and it's about 10 acres out here, and we're just starting this. Just started yesterday, so that'll be coming up in the next few weeks. And revisiting the Grazon, I had taken you into the back pasture, but this is the front pasture, and you can see that it is doing just as well as the back was. Grass is super healthy. This is all fescue, or orchard grass, as some people call it. The mules love it, and I'm not worried about having Bermuda or, you know, whatever other kind of grasses that some people think they have to have in their pasture. I'm completely happy with the fescue. The mules eat it just fine. They get fed other supplements, so they're getting everything they need. All right, we fenced all of this in out front on the road. It's 300 foot of road frontage. Remember, there wasn't anything out here. People were just coming and going in here apparently when this property was vacant, and stealing stuff and poaching deer. Fence comes all the way over, as you remember. Put this big arch up right here, hung the gate, and those fence posts are already in the ground. Just got to put the crossbars up, and that will go all the way up the right side of the driveway, right side of the windmill. That driveway arch was a real job to put up, but I made a keyhole to where when you pull out with the trailers, you've got plenty of room to pull out with the trailer and then close the gate behind you, or vice versa. When you're pulling in, you can get completely off the road. All right, the only thing that I didn't shoot a video of this year was planting these pecan trees. I got 5 pecan trees lining the right side of the driveway, and hopefully they'll take off and do well, and then next year I'll line the left side of the driveway. But I didn't want to get too crazy with it, as I didn't know if these were going to take or not. But these are 3-year-old rootstock with a 1-year-old grafted tree on it, and they're already budding. They've only been in the ground about a month, and they're already budding. We bored a well and had a windmill put in. 1930s air motor windmill off of a farm in Elwood, Nebraska, where it had been sitting for the last 90 years. And up until 2017, it was still operating, and they took it out of service to put in a solar powered water pump. So that's a great addition. And that'll be watering the kids out here, and I'll have city water down in this paddock down here and the paddock behind us where the shop is. Now, the barn, you see the temporary power pole that I put up as well, and the barn will be right there in between that hay bale and that power pole. Hopefully be starting sometime this summer, and all this green temporary fencing will be coming down, and this is the H-bar going down to where we just came from. And I'll have a gate mounted on the right side of this post, and it'll be directly across from that gate. So the left side of the barnyard will be fenced in, and that'll be the only gate to the pasture. I'll have gates inside, but the only gate to the outside will be right there. And then the kids will just have to walk right across the driveway and go into a barnyard fenced in area behind the barn where they can be in there for inclement weather. Mobile home was right there, and when I removed the mobile home, there was a power pole to the right of those Leland cypresses, and the power lines ran all the way up here to this other telephone pole to the right of the windmill, and it went across the driveway, and I thought it was pretty unsightly, and I didn't feel like I needed electric down here, as the barn was going to be over here, and then I could run electric from there wherever I needed it. So I had the power company come in and remove that power pole and remove all of that electric so that it was more aesthetically pleasing. I found this old John Deere Model M hood front when I was cleaning up. That's pretty cool. And I also found the remains of an 1800s wagon. Found the hubs, a couple of the hub rings. I found a horse-drawn bottom plow. That's the very front of the wagon, in the 5th wheel section. The axle went in there, came over here to this one. That's pretty cool. Found an old milk bottle. I'm assuming that's a Clorox 1-gallon bottle. Found an old Coke bottle. Found the back hubs. It will be a really neat display of some sort once I get the barn built. And I found 3 of the 4 wagon wheels. They're grown around this tree right here. We'll get those out eventually and incorporate those into something. Planted this trellis right here for scuppernongs. They haven't come back out yet, but they're gonna start budding here pretty soon, and expecting some really good grapes this year. And right here by the mobile home, there was a 12 by 20 shack in major disrepair that sat right here. And when we got rid of the telephone pole, I got rid of this too. It was really in shambles. No salvaging it. It would have been nice to have, but it was in shambles. Installed this farm faucet. There was already a faucet here, but it was leaking and causing a huge water puddle and mosquitoes and everything else. So I drove a post in and Installed a brand new farm faucet right there. Got it up off the ground so you weren't hitting it with the tractor. Added this 20-foot car hauler trailer that I don't use for car hauling or anything. I just use it for supplies and anything that's too big to go in the truck, and it has been instrumental in getting stuff in here. It's been a huge asset. And you've seen the tractor and all the other things that I've got, but done quite a bit out here. May not really look like it, but from where I was to where I am now 1 year later, it's a huge difference. So hopefully in the next few months we'll have the fencing done. We'll have more trees in the ground, fruit trees. We'll have the barn under construction. We'll have the lean-to done on the shop. Have a pole barn put in at the shop to put the trailers under. And I'm hoping to do a little trimming on the forest over here. That's why the USDA came in and we wanted to do a little trimming on the perimeter of the woods, so I can get my tractor all the way up there and get some forestry mulching going on. This paddock here will be incorporated into the very back pasture, and all this area right here will be incorporated in, and the fence will go right down the road right there. So anyway, got a lot done this first year and got a lot to do this next year, so it ought to be exciting and have some good video content for you. So stay tuned, and I appreciate you watching.